Oh, hi. I am very kind of spontaneously deciding today is going to be the day that I start going live and talking to people more authentically because I guess I just feel brave today. Anyway, I'm out in my garage. I am working on a cosplay blade for my next cosplay set. And this is the blade that I am working on. I have been sanding it down so that I can make the blade. So you can see right here, this, wow, there's a lot of you joining. I really did not expect that. Every other time I've tried to do any kind of live, I started it and I did it for like 10 minutes and nobody showed up and I quit. So, wow, hi everyone. This is really exciting. Anyway, this is my cosplay blade that I'm working on and I am going to finally reveal, if I haven't accidentally revealed, I feel like I should be doing some kind of reveal for when I put out a new cosplay. And I'm just making that decision in the process of doing this one. So I don't know if I've shared which one I'm doing next. But since there's so many of you here and I can actually ask this question live, has anybody guessed what my next cosplay is going to be based off of my couple of stories? I had a green wig that I have handmade, and then I'll show you, this is the weapon I'm working on. It's very long because my chop saw is over by a big pile of stuff. So I can't cut it unless I do it with like a hand saw, and I really don't like that. So I'm gonna get out my chop saw eventually. But what I'm working on right now is I am just sanding down this blade so that it looks more like smooth and sharp and blade-like, okay? And then I'm trying to build a texture up here that looks more like, it's like a rough, kind of like a drip, like metal drips along it. And I don't think anybody has guessed the cosplay yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and reveal it now so that we can talk about what this weapon is, because I didn't bring up a picture. Is Maki from Jujutsu Kaisen. So I am going to be creating a collection of weapons from Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm really excited about. I am doing this one, and I plan to do the split soul katana and hopefully playful cloud. But this is like my second cosplay blade ever. I've never shared the process behind making this stuff because I don't know. I don't feel like people care about the process behind making the stuff, but apparently you're all here and that means that you do. Anyway, let's work on sanding this down, and I'm gonna shut up for a minute, even though you're probably here to hear me talk, but you might just enjoy the ASMR moment. Yeah, right. I have no idea how I'm gonna do it yet. I might do it with cardboard. I might do the playful cloud with PVC pipe. We'll see. Because I also really want to make the big ass crossbow. Am I allowed to cuss on here? I want to make the really big crossbow from Horizon Zero Dawn so that I can cosplay as Aloy. Bulma. Bulma is definitely going to happen at some point in the near future. I do have a blue wig. Someone said, let's see, picnic basket said PVC with mache. I actually have inside, and it's really gross, I have a giant bucket of paper mache clay I'm trying to make, but I didn't have any glue, and I'm always trying to work with what's around. So I tried to make my own glue, which is just, you cook flour and water to mix in with the paper pulp, which I used old Amazon boxes, and I like boiled them and I shredded them and I blended them, and then I tried to put this glue in. But I have ADHD and I walked away from the glue and it burned into globs, and I was like, it still has thickening power, so we're gonna mix it in and let it sit overnight. And so now I have a big pot of disgusting, nasty, in-process paper mache clay. We're gonna see how that works out. Hi, yes, thank you. Resin holds anything together and gives it, ooh, I haven't heard of that. I actually only started really like working with a lot of these 3D materials. I don't know what to call them. I started doing like woodworking and making big things with mixed media, making weapons or making jewelry or all of it. I like to make everything. But I only started working with the big stuff within the past couple of years. Like I got my first table saw this year, and that was amazing because I'm renovating my house. And I'm just getting into the world of like resins. So that's actually a really good segue. What I am working on top of right now is the final countertop I'm going to be putting in for my kitchen renovation. I'm really, really excited because I have done all of the countertops. I did them in a really ridiculous way that definitely costed more than it would have if I had gone the way I'd originally planned. Anyway, I am on the 3/4 inch piece of MDF right now that's going to be the final countertop, and I'm going to be working on veneering it in this herringbone pattern to match the rest of my kitchen, and then pouring resin on it and putting in a sink and putting it in, and it's like a 10-foot countertop. So I am so ready to be at the end of this journey. Ugh, my kitchen is going to be beautiful, but since I moved in, I tore down a wall like immediately when I moved in. And that's kind of my story as to how all of this, how I got to a point where I'm now making cosplays. Let's see. So I used to be a professor. I quit being a professor probably in February of last year. Okay. I quit being a professor in February of last year. I had worked at the place for 10 years. I had been a student there, and I had just gotten promoted about a year before and had an income after getting out of grad school for the first time. And so I bought this big, beautiful house, walking distance from the place that I worked, or biking distance. It's a little further. Okay. I don't like to drive. So I bought this big, beautiful house. And then some shit went down at the university that I worked at, and I decided that working in a university, probably not for me. I loved kind of being, what do we call them, co-conspirators under the system, kind of helping people learn the things they actually need to learn in life. And I was a writing teacher, so I used and a rhetoric teacher, so I used anime and a lot of pop culture stuff and movies and music videos and stuff in my classes. I loved it. But some stuff went down with some reorganization and some misplacements of funds. And they tried to take it out on my department and my staff, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, and that it was a lot of trauma. I've been working through a lot of trauma, watching my legacy be broken down. My point is, right when that happened, I bought this big little house right up the street. And I knew when I moved in that I wanted to do some renovating. But I got really, really angry after I left my job. And I had some friends over one night, and I was just like, it's time for this wall to go. We're going to figure this out. I had no construction knowledge. Like, I have ADHD and I hyperfocus so I researched everything that I possibly could research, and I learned everything that I could possibly learn. And I knew this was not a load-bearing wall and where all of the electricity was. Like, I knew all of that. I had been planning to take this wall down. But taking a wall down is really kind of a terrifying thing if it's your first time. And as a woman, like, I had not really, like, a woman without a father figure present, I'd never really been around power tools, had the like ability to use them. And I kind of noticed that I also was afraid of the noise of them. Like, I wasn't supposed to make that much noise. But yeah, that night I had some friends over, and in a completely safe environment, I took down most of this wall. And that was when the renovation project officially begun. And that has been since March of last year. My renovation project has been going on since March of last year, and I'm finally putting in the last countertop. But I am really excited. I have been I've been recording my information about it all along, but I haven't really shared much of it. I'm just now starting to, because again, I thought that this part of my content was not the side that people were really kind of digging. But it's fun to see how many people love to see the creation process of things. When I did work in academia, I was in a really specific sect of writing and rhetoric called cultural rhetorics, where I studied cultures and how they like make and adapt and do things and form communities. And also I studied material rhetorics and how people like learn things through materials and tell stories through the things that they make. And I don't know where I was going with that story, if I'm honest. I don't know how to say this on the internet. I'm stoned. Legally, of course. But all of this comes back to, so I quit that job, I tore down the wall, I'm renovating my kitchen, I'm a creative person, and now I do this. Now I make content full time. I love making content. It's become my favorite thing. I kind of have been going crazy over the past year or so. Figuring out exactly what it is about me that I want to create content about. And if you don't know what what I mean by create content, because I don't know if everybody knows that language, but like, what is the thing that I can do consistently that is interesting enough for people to want to watch it to a point that I can make a living doing it, basically. And I have a lot of things. I like to do things, but I hadn't given myself time to really explore those things. So I had to learn all of that, or kind of figure out all of that by testing it out, all while also learning photography and videography and all of that stuff, and trying to keep kind of my personality in the process, while also, you know, being able to grow, which means you have to do trends. Some of them are fun. Actually, as a cultural rhetorician, I will say social media, Instagram is really, really fascinating. But, and participating in some trends are fun. But I haven't focused to this point. I keep seeing your compliments and losing my train of thought. I haven't focused to this point on sharing my projects. I've been really sharing a lot more of my pictures. My pictures, yes. I fell in love with photography in this process, with self-portraiture and fantasy. So I grew up in this house where my mom decorated the whole house with like fairies and mythical creatures, dragons. We had all of the really cool dragons. What does that mean? Somebody requested to be in my live. Oh, you want to chat with me? Sorry, I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet, but I will get there. Okay, this is my very first live, so I will get there. But I am happy to try to answer any questions that come up in the comments, or try to chat about anything that comes up in the comments. I really did not have a plan for today. I just put up my camera and decided I was gonna go live and craft. Because I've heard that that's what you do. You don't really have a plan. You just kind of go in and you do your thing, and nobody shows up, and you're fine, and you just keep doing your thing. So with that in mind, I'll finish up my thought. I was really excited learning about photography and falling in love with self-portraiture, especially in a world where women are, at least to me, my perspective had been like, really, like, as a woman, I've been told not to focus on my looks, don't use your looks. And so it got to a point where, like, I didn't take selfies, I didn't take pictures a lot. I was always taking pictures of other people, and I never took selfies or pictures of me. And I started to realized that I really, really loved fashion, and having that combination of fashion and the photography and like all of the crafty stuff together meant that I could take some really cool pictures, and then I could start to manifest like my ideas myself. So I started working with doing self-portraits, and really trying to have fun with doing digital creations. So I wanted to add like brightly colored eyes, wings, and all of these fantastical things. Like I have this one of me as Raven sitting cross-legged and just floating. It was really fun to make. It was really cool, but I stood on a folding chair wrong, fell on my ass, and my concrete floor in the basement. It really, really, really hurt. So bad memories associated with it, but I have that clip of me falling, and I have the clip of me floating, and those are great. So yeah, I just kind of messed around with whatever I could do, and then I started making like the sets. My whole house is essentially a giant set of this magical, mythical place that I want my world to be. I decided, I think during the, I hate to say this word because it's a trigger for so many people, but during the quarantine, realized the value of home and how much I really, really love being in my space, and that your home should be your favorite place to be. And that's when I started realizing, like, if I have this fantastical view of the world and it doesn't exist outside of my home, why not just make it in my own house? So I am going to do a full tour of all of the renovations of my home at some point. If you want to see that, make sure that you let me know somehow. Maybe comment that you want to see renovations, or just send me a heart or a thumbs up right now. I know renovations doesn't sound very interesting, but my house looks like a modern day D&D tavern in some rooms, and in other rooms like a modern day hobbit hole, and other places a fairy tale castle. Okay, that's what my house looks like, and I would be very excited to show that to you. So, finish that train of thought. I am getting hot. Didn't mean to rhyme, but I'm like, my leg is right in the sun. I love being in the sun, but I prefer less clothing at any point in time. I'm wearing my Crocs right now, my purple Crocs that I got from a yard sale, because I usually am barefoot everywhere that I go. So yeah, in the garage you shouldn't be barefoot, so I'm in my Crocs. And that jacket was really hot. Actually, I feel really bad about this jacket. I'll show you guys. I'm not a big camo pattern, digital, pixelated fan, so I didn't buy this jacket. I hired someone to come over and move one of the outlets when I tore down the wall, and that guy left his jacket. And I called the company to try to find him, to give him his jacket, because it's like a North Face jacket. It's a good jacket. But they said he had been let go, and they didn't tell me why, but they seemed like they were frustrated with him. He seemed like a great guy, but couldn't get in contact with him. And the guy said, well, I guess at the end of the day, you have a new jacket. So they do go with my beanie. I always forget. I wear the beanies to keep my hair out of my face, because I don't really like the tension of pulling my hair back. So I have like 3. I just rotate them. One of them I got for free for buying my Christmas tree from a local shop, and I loved that shop, but they have since passed their shop on for good reasons to become another thing, and they, I think, retired. And now I just have this bright pink hat that says forest flower on it. Nobody knows what it is. Yes, a dragon. Are you making the dragon flower bed? Or are you just hoping to find some ideas for one? I've never heard of that. That sounds really cool. I actually want to make a bed. Sybaris is in multiple states, right? If anybody knows about Sybaris and you haven't been there, like, you can book like an afternoon stay for a pretty reasonable price. It's like 12 to 4 p.m. It's kind of weird, but you can book that time just to take a shower in their steam shower, or a bath in one of their giant baths. But they have these amazing beds in there that have like steps that go up to them, you know, because Sybaris is a love motel for couples. Like carpeted steps so you can like put your knees down. And yeah, there's a mirror at the top of the bed, and then you have these twinkle starlights that you can turn on or off above it, and the mirror is like in front of you and on both sides, so you get to see everything. It is a bed, and I really want to make a similar construction to that bed, but with some more like modern geometric shapes. And I have so many cardboard boxes. I think I want to make it out of cardboard. Ooh. Well, if you end up making that or have anything that you are willing to share of that bed in the process, definitely share it with me, because that sounds super, super cool. All right, so the blade isn't really sanding down the way I want it to, or maybe it is. I've just got some places I went a little too far with my sandpaper, or with my Dremel when I got excited, because I don't get to use my Dremel super often. And I'm still not, I've only ever used it on cosplay foam. It's quite aggressive because it works really well. But when you get excited about it, you go a little far and you get these little divots down here, and the blade part are not intentional. This part up here is where I'm trying to make my texture. Okay, so I think maybe I can heat it and press it, because I know this is moldable through pressing. So I made a little heat gun right here also in the sun. We're gonna see if I can do that. Just gonna make sure it is thoroughly heated, but not like melting or catching on fire. Okay. It's nice and hot. While it's nice and hot, I'm taking my scrap foam from yesterday and I'm just gonna press it and see if that helps me kind of flatten out the texture. I worked in kitchens for a number of years, so my fingertips don't have any feeling in them, so this isn't a huge deal for me, but I would not recommend using a heat gun on cosplay foam and then immediately putting your hands on it. It will be hot, but usually like a towel or something in between will work really well. I kind of want to fill this in a little bit with the paper mache clay, but I'm not sure if it'll stick properly. Because again, it's my second time working with cosplay foam. The thing about sanding is the more you sand it, the more you see the imperfections, at least when you're sanding something that's black. So everything that I sand comes up white. Okay, we're getting there. Although, yeah, those divots are just gonna be there forever. Why? Like a paper, use paper mache and bandages. Hello to all of the people who have joined since the last time I said hello. I am working on a cosplay blade for my next cosplay costume, which I just made a wig for. It was really exciting. I have not tried on the wig for anybody yet, so maybe I'll grab it today and show it off. Although right now it is like, goes down to like here. Which is not a bad thing. I love long hair, and long hair is, like, short hair is also very beautiful. And I have had short hair. I didn't really love it on me. There are some people that can pull off short hair like, oh my God, beautiful. I'm not that person. But from the culture that I come from and my like background, traditionally long hair has been really, really pretty. And I love just being able to run my fingers through it, which is not so good with curly hair. But with the really like butt length green cosplay hair, yeah, I can just, I love that sensory I'm a primal sensualist, if anybody knows what that means. I love that kind of sensory exploration and feeling of just playing with my hair. I love being neurospicy. I really do, though. All right, so now while I'm gonna push the camera down so you can see the blade a little better, because I'm talking a lot less now. Now, as I'm sanding this area down, I'm also working to kind of define this edge in the middle. I don't know if you can see it because of the shadow or the lack of shadow, but generic and very plain. I could go and buy it. Might end up being cheaper in the long run to do that in many cases, but I really just want to put that focus into the detail. And honestly, again, that primal sensualism I was talking about, I love the feel of sanding things, at least soft things. July fireworks, like I don't like all of the sound, the chaos of fireworks. I'm getting better with it, but normally what I do on 4th of July is I come out to my garage, I put on my headphones and I sand something for hours, and it's just so peaceful because I don't hear any fireworks and I just am kind of like vibrating with the sander, like vibing with my dog, who is also terrified of fireworks. I'm really curious about whether or not this paper mache clay that I'm making is going to work out, if I could use that to fill in some of this. I think I could. Like, cosplay foam is pretty porous, and paint sticks to it. I think that's what it's made to do. So, maybe I can. So, I think that's going to be so gross to work with, but this was with the Dremel, and it's because it heated the seams together. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to see if I can close up this seam here a little better with the heat gun. I'm really just learning as I go, so I might be able to. My garage door is open, so I don't have to worry too much about dying from inhaling all of the toxic fumes. See, now it's curling up. I don't want to heat it that much. But it's a good time to press it back down. Yep. It's because my glue also... Oh, well, there's a little tiny bit of rubber cement in there that's getting in the way. All right. I think at this point I might be good to take a break from the sanding, kind of think about what I want to do to even out this texture, if I'm okay with it. Most of the texture coming from the paint later. But I'm going to go ahead and, I have these little triangles here. I'm going to just cover them with contact cement so that I can wrap them around the base of the blade to create the more decorative portion. See, this is what I need to go get that table saw or the chop saw across the room. This is going to go here to kind of cover up this lip, and it creates a decorative edge at the bottom of the blade when I wrap it around. So it's going to cover some of the ugly parts there. So I'm going to go ahead and get contact cement on these pieces. Got one for each side. And then this guy, and let it sit long enough to set up. And that'll take about 15 minutes. And then I will glue them on. All right, so before my connection goes out again, I'm going to glue those pieces on. I'm gonna let them sit, but my connection keeps going in and out and my phone is about to die. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of break. I'm going to eat something and I'm going to find another thing to keep me distracted while I wait to hang out with you guys again. So I will also, I don't know if I'll be back on Instagram Live today, but I will be on my VIP page live, going in and out through the day. I'll try and put notifications out through here, but it's best to just go to my stories and click the link, or go to my link in bio and subscribe to my VIP page, where I will be hanging out doing the same stuff, but probably in less clothing. See you over there.